Alright, all capitals, D, E, X, X, E, Q. Right. I'll put it up there when everyone's good. Right. Kind of good for dog. You're good. Okay.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, just one second. Okay, the doc says doubles, but it's obviously octets. Good. Right. You're good.
Yeah,
Angel.
go ahead.
Right. I am for 1 year too legitimate. Anything else means infinity being dropped because the 1 year is too short to make up for the time period. I have no RBS 6 minute. 2 normies improve first. We have time competing interpretations. Otherwise, the 2 can drown the after arguments while playing defense after it comes first. We have much larger strategic lots because 1/4 to the 1 year versus 1/7 to the 1 second. Permissibility for means by the end of the rent incubator proves that morality cannot generate obligations or prohibitions. You should affirm A. High text obligation based on definitions. Having obligation means that we have the best reason. All reasons to take action or not take action are valued compared on the basis of structural reasons. Sufficient reason requires that only reason be equal to the comparative reasons of no valid justification since all reasons sufficient comparison to other equally unvalid justification. B. Reciprocities. Reciprocity is the negative access to T, which is the 2 to 1 identity theoretical or correcting me for disability salts negative 2 1 substitution. Third, accessibility to disrupt the argument after malice intention. A. Praxis DA for solution with political theorizing because moves that benefit from meaningful disagreement with parties unintentionally wrongs otherwise no one to engage, which is also good for inclusion. B. Infinite abuse each side neg argument becomes a sharply negative, which 1 year can sharply cover, so concessions are inevitable. Fourth, interpretation debaters must only use the 2024-2025 open cases wiki functions for their intended purpose and function. Violations are the screenshot below. I'll read them out loud. They say in FBK round 6 round 4 to say, unquote, on God I did not lose this round. Permissibility somehow often turned a conceded roll of the ballot, and whoever turned to lose the round helped me with a bunch of E's, which makes no sense. Affirms A. Strategy their interpretation just like the infinite wiki clogging these debates are arbitrarily attached unrelated content different commitments of the wiki, which makes it sharply hard to prepare for the round. B. Accessibility to use round reports and call judges and opponents creates unsafe station for debaters where individual decisions are arbitrarily made fun of on online public forums, which is the average impact 5. Using norm setting models to evaluate theory. A. is also long term. In rugby solely matters 100 times. B. is the best right to take urgency for election debate. Debate what the best role debate looks like. Choice. C. In rugby is arbitrary. It requires judgment to determine reasonability to harassment to political context. You have to win reasonability when IRA framework. The ultimate value should be uphold morality because all is defined as a moral obligation that's very master. And that means that LD is inherently values debate rather than a policy situation. A debate over harms and benefits. That means you should evaluate around a concept of moral obligation in order to define moral obligation. That ethics is not naturalism. That means that moral theories must be grounded for the premise that ethics exists independent of natural and physical experience. Refer 5 reasons. 1. Naturally follows examples of goodness fail to find. Premise on naturalism are circular and fail to find ultimate and more good more. 03. Good is capable of any definition because good has no parts considered elements trying to define by the physical and life privations. The most that we can see is that the response to the other actually precedes. Second, moral deterrence of mechanism, moral lines of physics necessitates determinism and freedom lives in the numeral Schulten. 20. Freedom comes from responsibility to provide which transcends idealism. 2. One says freedom that no other path remains to describe freedom of the thing in itself, the true nature of the freedom. Third, humans teaching ethics must be trying to operate because that is that difference only to the essence of reasoning out what ought to be, but it's possible to write an offer be scripted premise, so needs to be additional offer premise to make a moral theory. 4. Moral intuition. Based moral judgment is some level of intuition everyday life, which is a physically independent guiding principle. Does more truths that overcome people observations of the physical world doesn't contain the truth necessary and sufficient for ethics. 5. Mary's room consciousness is not merely physical, which proves not natural. Anita, Rumilla, and 19. Mary's room in the scientists before she goes to the world for black and white room. She acquires all the physical information about what goes on when read. What will happen when Mary's loses? Will she learn anything that she seems obvious that she will, but then it's inescapable that her previous knowledge was incomplete. Mary has all the physical information possessing human color vision before her release, but there is some information about human color vision that she does not have before her release. Therefore, not all information is physical information. There are 3 ways to categorize the substance of natural properties internally, externally, are conceived in nature as being there. Internal and external fail only constituents that can solve the idea that we derive these non-natural forms that intrinsic nature of existence can solve their deficiency consequences. 14. External being made to capture universal claims that bears no relation to our mode of psychology. The internal grounded claims of psychology have trouble generating universal claims continuously. Traces of authority to aim that is intrinsic or accordingly their universal reasons that intrinsic nature of existence is a factor with the ability to rationally reflect on moral judgments as a source of goodness. A. Findings only practical agency of contingency. Agency can without shining deciding against other values, but actions in reject practical agency. Engaging requires a positive reason to make the decision. B. Action theory. Every moral and not supported action value. Actions that are infinitely divisible, solar, meaningless moves, actions stealing can be reduced according to how the entry grabbing thing leaving, all of which are distinct actions without moral value. Only the capitalization steals to steal ties the action together, give it any moral value. That's just like the universal validity of maxims. The idea that moral agents can rationally roll with an action without creating contradiction. Anything else is not moral value condition factor, and dead principle not contradiction to since 2 plus 2 people 4 for me, not for me, that's the same is true for all, 1 is true for all, time is operation, so it's the universal obligation. However, we are rational to not ideal situation where the state with force of authority secures equal out of freedom of property push. Then 2, the human being those are not in the middle of interaction because the problem of self-use remain unchecked reason because of the internal body, the regulated individual's law, takes equals to the element, the state uses power for freedom. Does the standard system with a system equal out of freedom to the unilateral will prefer the standard one other from class theories, prescribe necessary action based on objectively goodness, but does enter person actually goodness over the condition of goodness, inclination or insufficient because allow hold the change for us rationally to be committed unconditional value to obligation source and actually good object presuppose goodness and rational will for value upon them. Second rule following because A, we can the question why you follow the rule which all until you can some basic assumption of external justification. B, rules are arbitrary since they can form a unique interpretation understanding which makes them possible to verify violation. For example, nothing inherent of an error made into direction only a reason solves since we have our internal consumption of the will and our ability to set pursue and ends, but they're still at the same moral value indicating an intrinsic good. Third, duty rights are possible in the state of nature as with the human example because individual different areas of self-interest desire only non-arbitrary short authority can result in dispute of interpretation result in the problem. Otherwise, any individual living the moral duty would have uncontested obligatory offense. I can then you have to take out the wall text out of the article of the resolution specification regarding advocacy must be asking prosecutor substantive debates. A wall text defined by wall tax foundation as a wall text is a personal market value for us minor liability. Therefore, 1, public dependency, economic retrieving public wealth tax is necessary to shall be lateral order of scene. 9, private dependence solution must be institutional. Public solution is taxation for the wealth consists entirely in exclude other, which is considered with freedom only when considered with full condition in general. Economic retrieving nature with the idea that acquisition must be of ours through public procedure after the procedure retriever claim to exclude, which is the unilateral and position of forces. So built in omnilateral. Well, second, that's not universal level of Rogers. 17 presumption meters of the desire. When extended to political is lots of subject little opportunity more than other. The lack the origin of the desires between the forms of that presumption must be accountable to the political history of historical configuration by definition not universal. Any cycle analysis of political symptom subject to desire political arena was in the political formation subject to be by language. Second, original contract. The original contract formation society and see the obligation of the wealth retrieving wealth theory. 24, the original contract requires that retrieving wealth needed for the principle of rights. States that have been in any freedom state legislators impose taxes to reduce tax the burden of redistribution placed on the rich because property requires the state redistribution of wealth is prerequisite to individual freedom. The method, the rule of determined resolution triple policy. 1, continue to develop after negative resolution. A, 5, dictionary define negative is the truth of resolution and firm is crucial with intrinsic nature activity. B, by collapse and person debates and prove arguments true or false. In order to prove their framing is better, you must prove that it's true that there is jurisdiction FPK. 24, debates and linking doubts will be looking to end up. Deck topic. Second, inclusion all the rules about the open door for people lives debaters and factor distinction and compare who's the most responsible causes. Balance of space where people go to escape. Skip the next step, go to the next, like the last card. Actually, that's fine. Cross.
Okay. All good?
Yeah.
Okay, on the framework page, I think it's the Schulter evidence, it says, it makes an argument like Kant would solve determinism, but why is determinism true?
Yeah, the evidence says that the physical world relies on physics, it relies on biology, it relies on factors outside of our will. Every day we are...
Where does it say that?
Yeah, I can read you a line.
Yeah, sure, read me like a line in the highlighted part of the evidence that says that.
Sure. Yeah, nature does, if it's true, nature does not conflict with freedom.
How does that substantively prove determinism true?
Well, it says that nature would conflict with freedom otherwise. I don't think we have to win, like...
Where does it say that, and can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I just explained it to you before. The argument is that nature, i.e. things like factors outside of our control, so for example, like natural disasters, the wind, anything that...
Wait, but why would natural disasters disprove the fact that humans have free will?
Yeah, the argument again is that nature conflicts with freedom because it prevents our ability to set and pursue specific ends because of different things outside of our factors, outside of our will.
Okay. Alright. What is the omnilateral will?
Yeah, it's the collection of our individual will into a centralized state power. The Carey evidence conceptualizes this specifically with the idea of the original contract. It says that people innately want to be able to do things, but it is only through the restriction of those desires into the formation of a collective will in which we can create rights.
Okay, alright. If I was gonna stab somebody and, like if I was gonna, I don't know, stab someone's neck, why would Kant say that that would be bad?
Because you're trying to kill them?
Trying to kill them? So would the maxim be that like, you can't kill anybody?
That's not, like, a maxim is a description of what it is that you're trying to do. It's not a proposition that guides moral action.
Well, yeah, like, what
So
would the maxim
the maxim in that
situation?
case is like either deprivation, probably a deprivation of like property.
Deprivation of property?
Yeah.
Okay, how do we know that stabbing them in the neck would lead to a deprivation of property?
Yeah, you don't, it's not about leading to it, it's by definition of what stabbing someone in the neck is. It's not, the stabbing part is not the relevant part, it's more about the part that it's another agent in which you are impeding on.
So it's like the intent of impeding on that by stabbing them.
Well, sure, I mean, but another thing is like, don't conflate like intent with just like, oh, I'm an idiot and I think that stabbing someone is good for them and thus it's a good action. It's more about the intent defined by like the intrinsic component of the action that you're taking. The intrinsic component of the action you're taking is a deprivation of someone's personal autonomy.
Okay, alright. Yeah, that's good. I'll take running. Thanks. Okay, 43 taken. Like the ones again. It's one case. Oh wait, whoops. Hold up, it's saving. Okay, it's in there.
Where's the order on case?
On case, I'll do the overview. I'll do truth testing at the bottom of the overview, and then I'll just do the app proper.
Wait, sorry, say that again, truth testing overview app?
Overview, truth testing, app. On case.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good.
All judges good? Alright. The economy runs on the product stabilization, destabilization, and constantly lose humanity, the existing social circles that always already exist. The absolute should be reshuffled. You want to regulate some activities in the relation to the enjoyment, least the cyclical economic crisis, the imagery, like citizen refocus on accumulation, mantra, 10 production, individual circles, materialize, and concentrate relation to the aim of stabilizing, resolving the problems, somebody's desire to produce, industry social circles, which can never be accomplished because the fantasy providing rationalization that put up completion, regulate subjects, relation to draw response, economic institutions, administrative, investigating, enjoyment, this unstable nature needs any practice against subject distribution, needs a cycle of equilibrium crisis. The solution has been to reinstate responsible regulation to limit these self-interests, these to revenue stabilize subjective dynamics of distribution informed by the Keynesian demand by the fantasy, the American way of life, social engineers to administer the economy, and the product was a docile middle class lifestyle would be the envy, wealth, return to work for employment, transformative duty to invest in one's own human capital, speculative overburst, very rapidly mortgage crisis, the liberal crisis, increase in consumer debt drive, enjoyment from the process of participating in the consumption economy, the new Keynesian government, the excesses of human nature, perpetuates the discourse that aims to investigate the unruly excess and keep the question, the limit of public debate in place, the desire to struggle over the surplus of animated by the fantasy of open mobility in all politics or morality must begin with the death drive, shape subjectivity through fantasy of wholeness, which can never be filled in McGowan 13. That drive becomes subjectivity, subject desires, progress becomes untenable, and becomes self-destructive for its deception of subjectivity, acts on behalf of desire rather than knowledge, and conscious desire gives birth to subject in every part of knowledge, lost for the subject and sales is politics, centered around the repetition of loss rather than good subjects, creating the division between subject and the object, loss of a part of a subject that creates both the subject and the object throughout this act. Subject is lost itself, subject takes an interest in the object world because it forms this world that is around its lost object, subject interested in language, producing the very distinction between the subject and the object, subject willingness to sacrifice a part of itself in order to become speaking, subject self-suggested like and being in itself prior to the entry into language, lack of complete satisfaction through society ground on the subject through its alienating process, the initial loss that constitutes subjectivity is always and necessarily self-inflicted sacrifice, it is misleading insofar as it just these subjects has given it a wholeness to subject, sacrifice nothing in order to create a lost object around which it can organize its desires, subject desires oriented around this lost object can only exist insofar as it is lost. Whenever we obtain this object, we discover its emptiness and the sustainment of unfulfilled desires, unfulfilled fantasies and fear, cause unbridled social resentment that relates ecological destruction faster than all violence. Substance 23. Resentment is about the manifestations of resistance against transformation, the urgency of such change increases in times of climate breakdown, the end of the history replacement with progress, endless growth or fantasy. Therefore, the only symbolic space, the market, the neoliberal dream of the global order, and as we traditional morality, and markets is required. Economic and social violence, populism, combine the regulations of subjectivity, the regulation of the markets of people, direct result, combining a rejection of others with economic competition, populism, politics, socially dangerous, class production, social activity, flip side of production for the sake of production, right wing, populism, forced aspects, to coherent group, using resentment as the body material, capitalism is grounded on renunciation of enjoyment, satisfaction of needs, sacrifice to the impossible satisfaction, systemic demands, surplus value, subjects misidentifies, lost enjoyment, and others migrants who parasite on social welfare, profit is not ceasing demolishing the bonds that hold society together, resolve what is needed to put this anti-social program into practice. The alternative is to work through integrity, the right of control. This key to exposing the social trauma that attaches substance to the status quo. That means that the role of the balance to integrity symbols in the 180 Thompson 19. Exposing the autonomous symbolic structures of social production, combining value, capital, order, life, and the compulsive. Symbolic machinery, social production must be analyzed from the destiny of the implicit analysis, versus the use play against the labor, or working through bringing new antagonism, subject and antagonism, and subjects like tension between analytic and unconscious labor, which force analysis for ritual effort and overcoming the unconscious resistance, the political compulsive pulls every subject back into the perpetuation of the given order, the compulsive resistance suggests that something in the subject rejects knowledge, replaces it with psychic compulsion, elevates the subject from evidence to an agent in the antagonism of labor. I'll do the overview straight down on the overview. Yes, we'll grant you 1 AR theory, but all weighing arguments must be getting the 1 AR, or else the new and the 2 AR means that we literally cannot respond to them, which outweighs because we can't make an argument against the permissibility of firms war. 1 is neutral because it doesn't justify why it flips happen, just as all things are fair ground, all obligations would be fair grounds under the absence of a moral obligation. And 2 burdens outweigh the absence of the absolute truth under 2 testing proven by the fact that they read the definition of ought to imply a moral obligation, because then if ought implies a moral obligation, it means that moral obligations don't exist, flips negative because they cannot meet that burden. That outweighs the reciprocity stuff. T is hypothetical, don't err off on arguments that we haven't read in T, and there are equal grounds, so there's no argument here either way, and permissibility affirms is less reciprocal since T violations are self-inflicted while permissibility is unique, obvious for you to spam a priori and auto win. The same presumption affirms that we'll continue to affirm to the future presumption we have risk of opposite. The judge will still vote negative neither way on yes to in our weighing in response to the 1 error. They agree reaction to the opposite good idea, which is that this is the best interpretation, or else we just cannot win because then we consider 1 error weighing arguments that we cannot answer to, that we cannot answer in the shell against interrupt flaw. They don't say wiki functions are intended purpose of the wiki are. They don't delineate any rules, which means that they can't prove that we violate this, nor by the way they can't prove any sort of baseline for meeting this theory. Interrupt and violation 1, they can't verify that I made that edit in 2 out of round abuses outside of the judge's jurisdiction. It's not verifiable, meaning that it is a bad model of punishment regardless of what you think of the shell on the truth level. Any counter interpretation debaters may disclose whatever they want in the wiki insofar as rounds where docs are sent. Having full text disclosed in the round report is accurate because round report still being there checks any sort of strategy opposite either way the accessibility stuff. No call to just claim about the round and no impact to accessibility, fairness, or the shell overall, and no reason as to why resolving it. So I resolved all how drop the debater will resolve all this obviously that there's no reason to vote on it, and either way using round abuse so punishment or anything that I didn't do since that is illogical, and use norm setting or using norm setting is impossible as empirically proven by people still reading theory and people still violating that and reading things like an 11 off condo 1 and C, and either way there's no impact in holding us to this round outweighs, and you should not punish us for abuse that we did not inflict. And true testing. The ballot says vote for X debater, which just the internally to jurisdiction, since it does not say affirm or negate. Either way, 5 dictionaries disclose the 5 dictionaries were not disclosing the documents in the definition or jurisdiction. You cannot vote on these arguments since they do not tell you where those definitions are. How you can get them in either way is not fallacy. Just because they mean that does not mean that that should be the way to evaluate the round. You can cross to the FBK rules thing, just as that we use the topic, just that we should use the topic, not that we ought to evaluate rounds a certain way, which means that there's no internally from things like the truth or falsity to that being intrinsic to LD debate and that being a weighing mechanism in the case. Top. I'll do the preempt here. Psychoanalysis, falsifiable and verified neuropsychoanalysis proves Holmes' Turbo 16. Advances in neuropsychology have been important to the outstanding example being effective neuroscience, finally line neuroscience with psychoanalysis allowed disciplines to share in emotion and instinctual drive by media. Eventually it is possible to identify neural-based phenomena with scientific accuracy. Series of publications demonstrated emotions and cognitions, neurodynamics, and yes, it is universalizable insofar as we are reading our thesis, clear the things that desire are ontological to being, that is a condition of a being, regardless of things like reason, etc. That proves that it is universalizable. It does apply to things like political establishments, and it does apply to the affirmative. Either way, we'll do the induction stuff here. 1, it doesn't feel probability calculus under all proof that even if it is difficult to predict, does not mean that it won't happen, which is the AC is defensive on the induction page at best, but either way, it's a double bind because consequential is to determine whether or not the violations of certain maximum are bad. 1 must look to the consequences of the maximum, because 1, the only way to know that the ceiling is bad is because the consequences of it would deprive someone of their property, and B, we act on maximum, the phenomenal world, meaning that the only way I would know whether or not I should stab someone's eye through is because it would kill them. The maximum implies that we ought not to kill anybody, yet knowing that it would kill them and that it would violate that maximum would require violating the consequence of stabbing them in the first place. And I'll go straight down this syllogism. 1, the Schulten evidence is a preemptive determinism at best, just as the Kant doesn't trigger, but he doesn't warrant determinism, doesn't tell you why it's scientifically true, why it is reasonably true, just as the natural world might not. The natural world is a ton of things that are outside, the factors that are outside of our jurisdiction, but that does not tell you why humans do not have free will, but maybe that something would infringe on that and cause us to shape our decisions based off of that, but does not deny the fact that humans still do have free will. And either way, the moral intuitions point, intuitions are hijacked as desire, forced to deviate from reason and good intention, which is that there's no omnilateral will insofar as things that desire are a side constraint on the ways that we act within it. And either way, our thesis is that things like universal claims are impossible, which would take out the affirmative, but we'll we'll go on the embodiment stuff. It's the embodiments weren't specifically not a reason to prefer, but why reason could be a part of human faculty. It doesn't negate internal forces that may influence that things like desire, etc. This area we are rational, impulsive, and egoism flips and that because it should, if anything, prove by desire, fucks things up in the distinction between the numinal and the phenomenal world, and yeah.
Right.
Good for a cross.
Yeah. I don't think. Alright. Conceded the Aff paradigm issues, right? Like the theory, like besides norm fitting, you conceded Aff's theory, etc.
We said that you get theory, but
This
like
is-
it doesn't
yeah, no,
come
it's not-
before anything else.
Wait, what? You did not.
Or no, wait.
You did not make that argument.
Yeah, I said at the top, you get 1AR theory, but it doesn't come before, like, there's
Okay.
no, like, 1AR theory outweighs 1C theory stuff.
What was the response to the Aff argument for that?
To the half argument? What?
Yeah, we said Aff theory outweighs in the Aff. What was the response to that? Okay, that's fine. The K, what is, I guess, let's start at the, yeah, unfulfilled fantasies and fear, and why are those things bad?
Yeah, sure. We're basically saying that repressing desires and repressing the fact that we might not, for example, always act in accordance and with
I get,
consistency
okay,
within
you're still,
reason.
just answer my question. Why are ecological destruction, fascism, and violence bad?
Because those things because that can do things like destroy the world, which I guess would be kind of a side constraint on the AC, because
Where have
things
you
like
said
violence
this
and
in the
destruction are
letter?
obviously bad. I mean, the whole point of that off is not the specific line that you've isolated, but I've been like otherwise the ways that it interacts with your framework, etc. So we don't necessarily need to win that argument, but we can answer in the 2 and R if you're gonna make an argument that
I
those
guess
things
I
aren't bad.
understand
but
you
they
can
are.
answer it. My question is, what counts as bad or violent in the 1C when you say the words violence?
I guess if you infringe on someone's well-being, etc., the same things that the 1AC would say as to why killing someone is bad
Infringe on
could
someone's
also be
well-being.
reasons as to why,
Infringe on someone's well-being. That's what you want to defend?
Not necessarily.
Wait, then what? Then you just. I'm just asking you. What counts as quote violent?
The same things that would count as violence
As
under
yeah?
your interpretation.
Okay, great. The links. What are they besides the one to the economy?
The second link is specifically says that like your desires to make things like universal normative claims that ignore like the ontological conditions of desire as like a side constraint on all action. The fact that desire can cause us to like sort of misbehave and act outside of these normative claims, etc., is like uniquely repressing these desires.
You
which
didn't
then
read
makes
the
it
terms to the
these-
app, right? You didn't read the like the.
No, I didn't. I didn't read this stuff at the bottom.
Alright, great. Psycho-falsifiable. What's the warrant here?
The warrant, sure. So neurostudies have proven that things like affect, etc., exist because of the ways that your brain lights up when it is being imaged and scanned due to response to certain stimuli, etc., which prove that we all have things like that things like desire can shape the ways that our literal brain lights up when it is being put under neural imaging, and that's supported by like tons of research.
Sure.
And yeah.
Alright, cool. Take prep. Actually, quick question. I already started prep, but quick question. The app framework, what was the answer to like you said something about the omnilateral will. What was the argument?
That it doesn't matter if we have things like universal conceptions of what we ought to do under the omnilateral will if desire causes us to act against them.
Okay. Okay, 244 taken. Order is the theory overview, a new off, the AF framework, the AF offense, the truth testing page, the K.
Wait, repeat that?
Yeah. Order is the AF overview, the new off, the AF framework, the AF contention, the truth testing page, the K. I'll send the doc. Give me 1 second.
Sorry.
Alright, there it's uploaded. Going good?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are okay. Cool. No RBS on after we're conceding defense to the ass mice, drops and parameters after his drops of meter computing interpretations, no RBS times he makes it impossible for the app to win because the tuner will always win a substance they can always move on arguments can drop competing interpretations, but we don't need to win a new off interpretation. A violation debaters must completely and explicitly write down type and send theory interpretations and counter interpretations down before they read it. They did it for the counter interpretation to disclosure shall vote after let's try to sample I need a competitive counter interpretation, they can shift their offensive violation threshold to the next speech without which all these will lose even if you get the gist of the interview. You can't call the interview result of the agreement. Independent resolvability impact that outweighs its own voter since every round does usually have a winner, which also answers the K. Resolvability independently outweighs the cost doesn't check because they more violation based on previous questions or changed it. If they change their mind second perhaps they force me perhaps wasting time with that supposed time for high speed floating. Flowing makes getting every word impossible hours in theory. Misses one. Miss over bad wording means an instant loss. Given by the fact that they read a interflaw in the one which demonstrates its relevant fairness outweighs K. A testing if they were unfair. Keep responding which you can by the truth and be the conceded authority based speech times and speaker see how you say if they're relevant you could unfair to vote against them. And they also did not do the K outweighs theory, but they could have done it in the 1C. But why are arguments legitimate? Because the K was not introduced to the 1C. So no new tuner argument specifically on this argument because they could have done it in the 1C. Now the framework, the naturalistic fallacy means that morality must stop from non-natural premises describing goodness naturally begs the question of progressing empirical to further fails to explain that with more evidence that was dropped. They conceded that naturalism fails and is circular. Only part of reason is non-natural body because choosing to reject agency. Engaged is and is the only definition of what an action is. Otherwise, actions are just discrete ideas without actual continual unification of them, which is the action theory argument that was dropped in the 1C, which means that we should universally respect the constituted reason, thus in a system with equal out of freedom to the omnilateral group. All their arguments, they all rely on the idea of desire, which we'll answer when we get to the K. They dropped our specific arguments were non-natural. All of them were conceded, which demonstrates that consciousness exists outside of the natural world, which answers the critique, which we'll get to in a second. But the framework 2 arguments that were dropped also 1, the rule following here is their interpretation cannot resolve rules without the use of reason. Rules can just be, for example, things like arrows can never have an inherent explanation of what the rule of an arrow is. After a universal body can be able to aggregate, so only the abstate theory can resolve that. Otherwise, you cannot know if you can vote neg or not, which is the independent reason to vote F. Second was the indexical argument that was dropped and also flagged as such in the independent reason to refer ethical disagreements to state of nature inevitable because there's no way to dispute those claims without a cohesive state like the omnilateral will. So only the app framework can resolve that. Independent of that, you should vote affirmative immediately underneath the Kant doctrine because they've demonstrated that a singular locus of moral duty is sufficient to affirm, which is a quote from the 1AC. So if the app offense is true, then you should affirm the app offense. They drop their private dependency, they inherently unjust because it requires the life of an individual agent to directly be dictated by another. Well, text is the only solution because redistribution is a private injustice to a public solution, which is the only good thing that was ever seen evidence now. The K page. We'll do the truth telling stuff on the K page. Except the role of valid the truth of positive resolution, they dropped the 5 dictionary argument. I'm sorry you don't know what a footnote is. We included, if you go to the page Word of the Word document, you can see the dictionary citations. I'm sorry, I didn't cite it. You did not read any evidence ethics rule. So this argument goes the way they dropped it. It's a jurisdictional constraint to the Florida Blue. He said the Affirmative on the ballot. Their only response is nonsensical. What are they talking about? They just said, I don't even know what they said to this argument is about something about the ballot. The tournament rules literally say that the rounds will occur on Affirmative, and we define what Affirmative will be in relation to the non-deck topic. So it's the only thing you can vote on. Impact justified frameworks for a voter. They can never get action, so you can never determine an action is good after saying it is. So it also kills the ground because there's no room for the affirmative to consist a particular norm. Second, naturalism fails to drop the arguments which answer the thesis of the K, which is the first two pieces of evidence. You can never know if a universal desire like the negative is good because it's lacking a universal metaphysical explanation. That was the Rogers evidence there. Evidence for why psycho is universalizable does not answer our argument. Our argument is that you cannot universally explain structures, even if psychoanalysis can generally be true, which answers the argument of the economy because you can't know if the economy is always dictated by the desire. Third, desire debate. We'll do it here. Our evidence hijacks it. That's the coach evidence from the 180 scale. You drop that the only way to collectively unify desire is through the state. Even if we are individually bad actors, that does not mean we should not abide by ideal theory. Ideal theory is good and results in a motivation. We can never motivate the alternative because they're not ideal. So you can't generate truth through oppressors, but to operate under universal rights or establishing coherent lines of reason, be circularity. Even if death drives intuitively bad, they cannot generate normative guidelines to achieve their ends because they don't even know what their ends are in the first place, which collapses their movement. See ethical egoism. They allow subjective conceptions or depression is based on your circumstances that causes bias. CP and only attracting from material conditions can be keep our empirical character in check and kind of subjectivity. You can do both from the app and the context of the alternative term. The alternative. Death trap doesn't exist, but the continued use of it minimally explains all violence, which determines the alternative dilemma. 13. The death trap is specifically denounced as a misconceived biology, unsubstantiated speculation, logical, incoherent, and without evidence. Those sympathetic idea reiterate the extinction as aggression. What the part is aggression? As aggression.
Aggression. I took 47, right? Okay.
Wait, I got like 1 minute 20, but I don't know. Whoever.
I would not take 1 minute 20.
Sure. Take whatever you want.
I'll just take 3. The off at the top and then the K. And I'll do truth testing on the framing page
I'm good with
of the K. Alright. All good? Right.
counterinterpretation. Oh wait, actually, yeah. Counterinterpretation. Debaters must then counterinterpret to clarify them. If asking cross-examination reflects prep, cross-ex and flex prep, check they can ask me to center clarify interrupts. Cross-examination is binding. Most judges flowing even if they don't flow, they still pay attention. They're still listening because they can't just shut off their ears, which means that they'll still listen. All people agree that cross-examination is binding, so they can hold me exactly to what I have said in cross-examination about the interpretation, etc. Another way they couldn't just ask me to send it, which means that they're just baiting theory, which is bad because that means that they're not interested in maintaining things like good norms. They just want me to lose this round based off of a marginal violation that could have just been solved by asking me in cross-examination. That outweighs it prompts asking me in cross outweighs it prompts discussion about norms, which outweighs it. They'll create a collective discussion over things like fairness and the intrinsicness of their norms to debate. And the fact that there are no rules means that community discussion is key in order to set good norms, etc. And all their predictability, resolvability, offices non-unique insofar as they did not send these standards, etc. or anything else, which means that people who can't flow that fast and don't catch the intro definitely will not catch any of the standards because they cannot contest that shell either way. And even if the judges don't flow it, also setting these standards is also key to being able to resolve the shell in the first place, because any reason as to why the interface setting the interface key is also a reason as to why setting these standards is even more key, since that is the literal justification for the shell, etc. And
all the wake stuff.
No fairness outweighs decay was done in the one error, which is that it's a new one error argument proven by the fact that there's no fairness. In fact, the 1AC theory overview, which we already did on the shell at the top. They didn't tell us why things like accessibility or fairness outweigh, which is the one error push on why outweighs the critique is absolutely new, which is that yes, we do get new tuner responses into the new tuner weighing as to why fairness does not outweigh the critiques. They'll always win. They'll always win if we can't counter these.
Okay, we literally need to be able to answer these arguments, or else it is structurally impossible for us to win the debate. And psychoanalysis takes out theory. So if we win the theory of psychoanalysis, then that takes out the shell.
Even if they win that there are pragmatic reasons for theory to come before the role, the validation of frame makes them a lexical priority to looking at any other layer for the debate, which is that valuing our office is the only logical conclusion to the shell. Internally to engagement is reciprocal. We've been doubting the legitimacy of those theory arguments to begin with, which makes resolving the layer prior question and unfairness is good and encourages to accept contradictions within the symbolic order and embrace them rather than try and police under a flawed conception of the world winning. That this means that you weigh the lash out stuff in the overview against fairness. Another way we've impacted their clash as a matter model. The only way that they have gone for fairness in the one area is as an internal link to education and or clash with decay, but their interpretation of sentence clash with the critique inherently asks us to do things like achieve perfect norms, etc., which all makes it impossible to accept the contradictions within the symbolic order. And B, we're winning that their model of debating is bad, which is the terminal endpoint of that model is bad and fairness is indesirable. And either way, it's the objective goal of perfect norming is bad, and it does not actually ever achieve these norms. And reading things like theory under the guise of things like norm setting, etc., actually turns the shell. It's not possible, since winning our thesis proves that people are motivated by desires to indulge in things that are inherently bad for the debate, due to frustration with their inability to fulfill the law, proven by the fact that people read 11 off Condor or Eva for the 1AC despite knowing about the winning condition of shell, etc. Maybe it's harmful since it attempts to find closure in space way to dysfunctionality, attempting to close the symbolic order only prompts things like lash out as theory debaters become frustrated with the fact that people will never follow their own norms. They'll do things like read nail bomb apps, etc. in response. And
they cave for it.
We'll kick the alternative we're not going for, which should answer any of the stuff on the permit. Either way, we'll extend the thesis. The world is made up of signs and signifiers that form symbols, which create demands and desires, materials and symbols, the inability to generate that reality, creates the lag, which all make up the collective unconscious when subjects attempt to satiate those desires. They create fantasies, those define the way that we interact with the world and overcome the inability to fulfill the lack that results in the cultivation of resentment of the other, where we begin to lash hours, we begin hatred of life itself, with the fact that our demands can never be satisfied, that cause endless environmental destruction through unregulated growth, structural fast and extensive violence that's conceded. 1 in C. Thompson 23. They say that the death drive is not real. That is a false argument. Critique did not have any sort of extrapolation. All he did was read an under-highlighted piece of evidence that does not point to anything beside, biology disproves it, but they don't tell us why biology disproves it, etc. But we'll do the work here. It's very, very simple. One, signifiers and experience are always in relation to each other. The fact that the endpoint of the one is to preserve life proves that rather than having intrinsic worth, life is only valuable in what it ends. By the same principle, success is only valuable because we fail into the death drive is the couple of desire to reverse desire, e.g. success and failure always play or at play with one another. It's inevitably true because they concede the failure of language to capture desire, which means that somebody's fundamentally incomplete and always searching for the lack. And they've also conceded that permissibility of presumption negate, which means that any sort of reason that desire is time constraint, or that the desire would make certain actions morally permissible, because it means that we would act against things like reason because desire is a time constraint. On all those things is a reason that you negate under truth testing, because they've conceded the affirmative needs to prove an undying affirmation of the resolution. They need to prove the truth of the moral odd statement. They says they have conceded that odd needs to imply a moral obligation. If even the psychoanalysis denies the ability to provide a moral obligation because certain things would be morally permissible, on that any risk that we are right is a risk that you would negate under truth testing. And yes, it's falsifiable, top level, multiple concessions plus they lack warrants. 1, scans have been able to identify feelings of affect and drive via certain ways that the brain lights up when we have an unconscious desire for something. And 2, mirror neurons fire unconsciously to contribute to and shape our perception of actions, which validates psychoanalysis independent of case studies. And either way, that means that neuropsychoanalysis proves that it is universalizable because it is not only an ontological condition, but it's something that is biological to every single human being that everybody has, which means that it does apply to things like political assemblages and the ways that we think about ethics, things like reason, etc. are all bound by psychoanalysis as far as we are winning the neuropsychoanalysis point that proves that everybody has it. And truth testing. They made a big mistake of not clearing up this debate and explaining why things like the is-ought fallacy wouldn't take out all their responses. We're winning that constitutivism, winning constitutivism, internal link terms, their ability to prove that truth testing is the things like truth testing is a truth debate, etc. Either way, even if you do buy these the dictionary's argument, they just said they affirm means to prove the truth, and the negate means to deny the existence of that truth. But they have not told you why there's a specific internal link that says that ought to be the model of debate that we should use into is they are not winning this means that it doesn't prove that anything in regards to how we should actually evaluate it, which frames the FPK evidence suggested that you should vote for an aff and a negative debater, and that the debate should be about the resolution. But we have read a topic link which proves that the debate is about the resolution, but it does not imply that you should have any sort of role about a specific weighing mechanism on how to evaluate offense under that resolution. And
Either way, we'll go down on the links, I guess.
Enjoyment is characterized by failure to obtain the object of their engagement, to market long and short, the ability to navigate the economy by using equitable distribution, become attainment inherently rational dissatisfaction, seeking treasure-based nature of enjoyment, the wealth and the discourse surrounding it is a new Keynesian policy asks us to place ourselves and our desires back into an economic system through spending, wages, and work under the false promise of stability of a living wage and inherently unstable economy, where winning universalized ability, which means that we can apply to things like the economy, which independently negates, because that is a topic we can either read the McGowan evidence, ethics like normativity derives from a desire to fulfill an objective viewpoint and decision making, to resolve ourselves from ethical responsibility proven by things like the Cost 92 card that says that humans are irrational, impulsive, when bridging the gap between phenomenal conditions and action, and innumerable which points towards desire is a hidden factor, which proves that desire is a side strategy. What you see triggers permissibility that independently winning the thesis of psychoanalysis proves that you should negate under this because it disproves the entirety of the 1AC.
Like a minute 20 putting out. The order is going to be just the must send interruption. Alright. Everyone good? Good. I assume that means yes. Okay. Alright. Quickly, there was no permissibility to trigger anyone in the debate. That argument goes away. There's nothing that alters the theory page. It's just a question of the theory versus the case. So you go for the debater who demonstrates that their weighing metric outweighs. Now, our interpretation is that debaters must completely and explicitly write down / type and send theory in terms and counter terms before they read it. They didn't do it in the tuner or in the 1C. They dropped our resolvability argument, which is that theory in terms are different than theory standards because theory in terms are functional add pieces of text like plan text are to DAs. Just because a DA is not necessarily sent, you still, or just because the added advantage is not necessarily sent, is not the same thing. It's not saying the plan text. The plan text is the relevant part because it determines what ground the other debater gets, which is why our interpretation is unique and resolves all the arbitrariness stuff that was done above. They've dropped their resolvability argument, and they've also dropped that cross-examination check because you can always change violations, which is an argument in the 1AR. They just said it's better because it encourages community discussions. Our argument is that even if judges are listening, you don't know what the inter was, because people can always check it. There's no way to actually verify that unless you actually said it during your speech, which is that 100% strength to link to more offense. They've dropped all of the paradigm issues after it's legitimate. It dropped the debater competing interpretations, etc. The framing issue, they dropped competing interpretations, which is the worst thing because every single argument debated in the tuner is defensive at best. They have to justify that their norm is comparatively better to our norm, but they have not justified an offensive reason to prefer not setting theory in terms. So if you think that's even marginally better to send theory in terms, then you should vote out. Now all I have to do is win that theory outweighs the case. They dropped this debate would have been much closer for the negative if the tuner had to line by line my reasons why fairness outweighs, but they dropped every single standard for why fairness outweighs and read a block extension, which I know at least 2 of the judges in here, including me, could not flow any of that. They did not make a single delineated response to why the Tay outweighs, and all of you should feel comfortable explaining to me back in your rebuttal why, in your RFD, why fairness fairness gets taken out by the K, which you cannot do because the tuner did not explain any of those arguments, but independently two framing issues. First, they dropped the testing argument, which is that fairness is an intrinsic good, not an internal link. Otherwise, judges couldn't evaluate arguments to the cognitive debate, which is an internal link to being able to test whether or not the K's rule about is true, which comes in a higher layer. The second argument they have dropped independently was that result. Third argument, there are three arguments. Second is resolvability. It's just that even if fairness does not matter, each round has to have a winner and loser, but your interpretation of debate makes it impossible, which precedes the K because that started from the 1AC and you do not send the interps in the 1AC. Then third, every single argument why the K outweighs theory should strike off your flow. Yes, the tuner can respond to my arguments for why fairness outweighs the K, but they cannot make new arguments for why the K outweighs theory. The reason is because theory was introduced as a paradigm in the 1AC, and the 1AC read and critiqued. The 1AC did not say the words theory outweighs the K, and they said that in the tuner. All of those arguments are new and were read off the doc, as you know, should be tracked off your flow. Now, the evidence quickly, they say our model debate is bad. It does not matter. You cannot test if our model debate is good or bad in the first place. Theory is an intrinsic good because it sets norms for the future, which is why everyone's here to debate in the first place, etc. Okay. Yeah, the cross-sex argument was conceded. It's defensive. They have not made an argument as to why it's uniquely good under a competing interpretation model, which they have conceded, so we're winning the theory flow. The only relevant question is if you think that theory outweighs the K paradigmatically, but they have dropped that they cannot make new reasons why the K outweighs theory since they introduced the K in the 1 and C. And even if they could make those reasons, I guarantee you guys, you will not be able to explain to me why psychoanalysis would take out theory. They just said a bunch of words about the symbolic order. We have line by line all of those arguments. They have dropped the hacking argument, which is that if fairness doesn't matter, you should hack against them. They dropped the testing argument, and they have dropped that theory determines your ability to evaluate the K flow.